You know, the SFOF fraud report doesn't cover Maine, but we have our own version of that same exact story happening now. There was a federal audit that was released in January of this year, and it found that Maine's health department hadn't run a single, not even one, post-payment review of its autism services program since it started in 2010. So
Wow.
16 years ago. And
Wow.
it produced $45.6 million in improper payments. I mean, are those numbers that surprise you? Is that a pattern that you see elsewhere? Tell me how Maine compares.
Well, sadly, no, they don't surprise me, and those are the types of numbers that you see. And again, the result of this is some of it, some of it is because, like I mentioned before, fraudsters, their entire job is to figure out how to steal money from people. So you mentioned autism specifically. This has
Mm-hmm.
been something that has been on the rise in the last 10, 15 years. So, as people then say that they have autism or they have kids that have autism or they're starting a program to support kids who have autism, a lot of states and a lot of state programs are going to say, this is exactly what you should be doing. This is such an awful condition, an awful situation. We want to be supportive of you. And no one asks any questions on the front end, again,
Mm-hmm.
verification. And then no one actually tracks to see where the money goes on the back end, get an examination or an audit. And you saw this again in Minnesota, in different states as well, where they would run these autism schemes, specifically autism, because there was an opportunity for fraud. And again, this is the thing that's really sad about it, is that there are people who legitimately have really tough cases of autism, or they have really difficult healthcare needs that need to be addressed. And so as a result, fraudsters come in and take advantage. No one asks any questions, and those people don't get any benefits. There was one report that came out when the federal task force was talking about these issues, where somebody claimed to be I think a home health care nurse effectively. And it was supposed to be their responsibility to get money to then take care of a man. They never did. That man died.
Oh,
The man lost his life because fraudsters would rather steal money from him and steal money from taxpayers. And it's the same type of situation that happens, again, in these autism centers or in the cases where you've got some severe sickness or disability or condition where, again, nobody asks any questions because people don't want to seem inconsiderate, or if it's for a specific community who's taken out the money. Again, it was the case in Minnesota with the Somali community. People don't want to be called racist. They don't want to have some charge leveled at them. That's completely untrue. They just want to figure out what the facts are. But as a result, they just wash their hands of it. They say nothing, and then $45 million gets stolen from Mainers.
well, I mean, and that's really the tragedy of it, is that the lack of accountability creates opportunity for folks to slip through the cracks and have their needs not met. And we are talking, as a nurse, I have met these patients, and as a state rep, I have heard from their family members about the wait lists and the lack of care that exists. And so to see these resources going to folks who are, who are not providing the services that they claim to be, to this incredibly vulnerable population. I mean, parents dealing with grown adult children with autism, this is a population that can very easily be in crisis when the
Yeah.
services that they need are not available. And so it is just particularly repugnant that people would take advantage of the system in a way that would put these people who are so vulnerable at risk. And yes, in Maine, we have seen the same with deaths resulting from incompetent care or non-existent care. And that is absolutely just unforgivable to me.